is CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman, and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Let's take a look at today's top stories. And off the top, we begin with breaking news. A police-involved shooting in Boca, Chopper 4 over the scene. This is along Dixie Highway and West Palmetto Park Road. You can see heavy police activity in the area. The suspect died at the scene, but we still don't know the circumstances that led up to this shooting. Stay with us for updates. We're going to have a live report from the scene on CBS News Miami at 5. In Fort Lauderdale, a tennis coach has been arrested. He is accused of a disturbing crime. 31-year-old Daniel Riggs is charged with enticement and production of child pornography. Authorities say Riggs allegedly engaged in sexual conversations with a minor through social media. Officials say he sexually abused that minor while they traveled. Investigators say social media records reveal a second possible victim. If you have any information, call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. Riggs is the grandson of tennis great Bobby Rigg. We're going to have a live report on this at 5. Heavy downpours brought flooding across South Florida this morning. Chopper 4 over the scene. This is along Northwest 27th Avenue and Oakland Park Boulevard. Residents in Fort Lauderdale experienced more than 3 inches of rain. It trapped cars on flooded streets, as you can see there.
Always alerting, always tracking. This is Next Weather.
And taking a live look outside, a beautiful shot, sunny right now, but parts of South Florida, as you just saw, experienced some heavy flooding earlier this morning. Let's get right to Next Weather meteorologist Shane Hinton. And Shane, it's not over just yet.
That's right, Naja. So we are still seeing some flooding concerns as we head throughout the next several hours. We actually have a level 1 risk for flooding concerns as we go throughout the rest of the evening and into the overnight period. You can see numerous storms still possible, with the areas of flooding, of potential flooding, being shaded here in green. This does not mean that everyone will receive flooding. It just means the ingredients are present in these locations for flooding to occur. Now, I don't like to spend too much time talking about stuff that happened in the past, but these rainfall totals within the past 16 hours or so are pretty impressive. Lighthouse Point recorded over 5 inches of rain. You were seeing some of that flooding footage earlier near Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, nearly 3.5 inches. But as you make your way to Miami-Dade County, they got measly totals, just 1/100 of an inch in Coral Gables. Those radar estimated rainfall totals really did favor Broward County today, and we'll have to keep our eyes peeled throughout the next several hours for that flooding threat. Right now, the satellite radar is pretty quiet. Temperatures sitting in the lower 80s across all of South Florida. Warmest for my friends in Homestead at 82 degrees. Walking through the future track, you'll see we're still dealing with some tropical moisture, which could move into the area and create some scattered activity throughout the evening and even into tomorrow, as we're going to be tracking a cold front that's going to push through the area. As that cold front swings through, it's a lifting mechanism, so it kind of interacts with that moisture and could create some additional scattered activity. I don't think as widespread as what we saw in parts of Broward County earlier today, but it is about a 30% chance. So keep the umbrella handy, not only for tonight, but also as you make your way throughout the day tomorrow. With that moisture and some southerly flow, I do see the potential for some fog developing tonight. That means we could get visibility down to 1 to 5 miles, so be mindful for your morning commute tomorrow. You might want to go ahead and factor in a little bit of extra time. Those conditions should clear by late tomorrow morning. You're going to wake up tomorrow in the upper 60s to lower 70s, so still fairly humid. We do have some cooler and drier weather on the way. We just have to wait for the weekend for that to happen. Let's walk you through your Thursday. You'll notice that 10 to maybe 30% chance at best for tomorrow. Go ahead and keep the umbrella near. I do still think we'll make it into the lower 80s. Really, for most of South Florida, Fort Lauderdale might be topping out in the upper 70s, as are my friends in the Keys, maybe even the mid 70s if you're going to be out in Key West. Now let's head into the weekend. That cold front swings through, drops us into the lower 70s for our afternoon highs on Saturday and Sunday, and it will bring back the return of chilly mornings. So go ahead and prepare for that for your weekend plans. Speaking of which, winter officially begins, astronomical winter on Saturday. And then if you are going out to the Dolphins game, should be pretty cool for tailgating, and then a pleasant afternoon in the mid 70s. Looking ahead to next week, we have Christmas and the start of Hanukkah on Wednesday. That is going to be fairly seasonable in the upper 70s.
Not a bad 7-day. Thank you, Shane. A friend of the Alexander brothers faced a judge today. Ohad fisherman turned himself into court. He's accused of taking part in a gang rape dating back to 2016. CBS News Miami's Morgan Reiner reports.
The judge said by law his offense is a bondable one, so he was taken to TGK, where he will take his mugshot, give his fingerprints, and then he will be let out. And today I asked Ohad fisherman about the charges against him. Take a look.
Anything you have to say about the serious allegations against you?
Not going to make any statements at this time.
Is it true that you participated in a gang rape?
Was she lying?
He's not going to make any statements at this time.
Once inside of the courtroom, there was plenty of talking. Attorney Jeffrey Sloman said Ohad fisherman just returned from his honeymoon Tuesday night.
So to say this came out of the blue is an understatement.
The arrest affidavit says 37-year-old Alon Alexander invited the victim in this case over to a condo on Miami Beach for a barbecue. Once she arrived, the victim said she was introduced to Alon's twin brother, Oren Alexander, who is a real estate superstar, and 39-year-old Ohad fisherman. The arrest warrant says Alon led this woman into a bedroom and Oren and Ohad followed her in and locked the door behind her. The victim then said Ohad fisherman pinned her down on the bed using his knees on her shoulders, while the twins discussed who would rape her first. The victim said she was crying and asking them to stop, but the twins didn't.
Since the alleged incident, he's had no contact, obviously, with the alleged victim. He's had no contact with any of the alleged victims in any of the related cases involving the Alexander brothers.
His defense attorney argues because he came back from Japan, he has no prior convictions, is not named in any of the other accusations against the Alexander brothers, and his in-laws were willing to insure his bond with an additional $260,000. He should remain out of jail as the case continues.
Because by law, he is entitled to a bond. It is a bondable offense.
The state said they wouldn't agree to it.
The state's concern is that this is, you read the facts of the case, he's a principal, he held the victim down while she was raped by the Alexander brothers. It did not seem like it was a first-time incident, just based on the facts.
The judge granted the bail. Fisherman has to pay a $25,000 bond, wear an ankle monitor, stay away from the alleged victim, turn in his U.S. and Israeli passports, and the judge accepted the $260,000 surety bond from the in-laws.
Mr. Fisherman is anxious to resolve this and to vindicate his name.
Investigators say that Uber receipts confirm that the victim was there at the condo the day in question in 2016. So I asked Fisherman's attorney if they are denying the rape, if they can talk about what did happen that day. They said no comment. He has another status hearing set for Friday. In Miami, Morgan Reiner, CBS News, Miami.
A federal grand jury has indicted former Miami Congressman David Rivera. He was trying to remove a Venezuelan businessman from the Treasury Department's sanctions list. The 59-year-old is accused of lobbying government officials. The DOJ says he received about $5 million and failed to register under the Foreign Registration Act. He served in Congress for one term in 2011. He is facing similar charges in a South Florida case that was opened in 2022. New details this afternoon on a deadly crash in North Miami Beach. Police say a pedestrian was hit and killed. The crash happened on Northeast 146th Street and Biscayne Boulevard. It's unclear what led up to the man getting hit. The victim has not been identified. When we come back, it is starting to look a lot like New Year's Eve. We'll show you how organizations are prepping for the big day. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now at 4, investigators are combing through the past of the 15-year-old female shooter who opened fire at her Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin. Police now say it was a second-grade teacher who called 911, not a student. CBS News Miami's Ann Lee has the latest.
Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin remains closed, reeling from a shooting Monday that claimed the lives of a student and teacher and wounded half a dozen others.
There are always signs of a school shooting before it occurred.
Authorities are looking into recent online activity and social ties to determine 15-year-old Natalie Samantha Rupnow's motive. ATF has traced ownership of the weapon she used, but law enforcement hasn't yet figured out how the young shooter got her hands on it.
Identifying a motive is our top priority, but at this time it appears that the motive was a combination of factors.
Tuesday, the chief of police told us the 15-year-old wasn't targeting anyone specifically, but rather everyone was in danger.
This is such a huge loss for our community.
The community gathered for several vigils Tuesday evening. Students can't shake what they saw and heard.
It's still kind of hard to think and feel feelings because of just how incredibly emotionally and mentally taxing that experience was.
School security is under the microscope, including one thing missing during Monday's attack.
Why didn't the school have a resource officer?
Our focus is on providing a community where the kids are safe, but that doesn't always involve a resource officer as the only answer to that question.
The school is considering new security measures, including adding a possible resource officer in the new year. Ian Lee, CBS News, Madison, Wisconsin.
It is starting to look a lot like New Year's Eve in Times Square.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year!
Always so magical to see organizers practice lighting up the giant numbers that will illuminate the crossroads of the world in 13 days. The numbers will be on display for photo ops through the weekend. That's before it's moved to the top of Times Square.
So seeing them in person is wow, oh my God. And they're huge, so it's really cool.
The anticipation is unbelievable. There's no other time where over 1 billion people are counting down in unison, filled with joy and hope.
The 7-foot numbers weigh more than 1,200 pounds and are made up of more than 600 light bulbs. Now to the Fins on CBS Miami. Dolphins wide receiver Grant DuBose is now on injured reserve, and that means his season is over. The move comes just days after he suffered a terrifying head injury in their loss to the Texans. That sent him to the hospital. The Dolphins signed NFL veteran Isaiah McKenzie and brought back QB Skylar Thompson, both to head the practice squad. And we have you covered Sunday when the Dolphins take on the San Francisco 49ers. It all begins at 11 a.m. with the Coach Mike McDaniel show. That is followed by Dolphins Weekly Live at 11:30. Kickoff is at 4:25, and that is followed by fifth quarter after the game on CW Miami 33. And a scheduling change, the Dolphins' December 29th game against the Cleveland Browns has been moved from Sunday night to a 4:05 kickoff, and you can watch it right here on CBS Miami. That's your CBS News Miami Quickcast. I'm Naja Sherman. Stay tuned for more news right here on CBS News Miami, and have a great day.